What is up, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Crypto FUD. All right, perfect. Thought we weren't streaming. We're live. We're live. What's going on, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Let's get some water in and let's do this, guys. We got some bullish stuff ahead of us. The markets right now are actually pumping, looking very nice. Let's just jump into everything right now. Ethereum right now up almost 4% after a big drop this past weekend. You guys can see we're at around $3,636. Did not make that up. 36.36 right now. Coming up to a key level on Ethereum. This is going to be our trend. You guys know for a while we've been talking about this trend. This is a 4-year trend, right? If you go back from these highs from 2021, this is a trend line that I said was going to be either some big support and or resistance. We have been holding it as support. We are approaching it as of now, and it looks like as of now on the daily, we have broke above that trend, approaching the 236 again around that 3,700. So big moves for the market for today. Ethereum's up about over 4.2% as we're talking. As we started the stream, Ethereum was up 3.5%. So you're seeing a nice big pump in the markets. Let's jump over to Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin, solid move right now. 115,300 right now, 115,300. You guys remember as of Friday, Saturday, we saw a little bit of a dippy poo down here to about the 112,000. We did find some support right on one of our support levels that we've had at around 112,000. You guys can see a nice little pretty much W pattern right here. You can see we did test it a few times. Looks like we tested it about four times, but you can kind of see that double bottom kind of a gist right there. Nice little W pattern, and you can see as of yesterday we started to move up. Today the market's opened up and it looks like we are on a nice little run as of now. Looking at the stock market, the S&P up over 1%, NASDAQ up 1.5%, Dow Jones is approaching that 1%, the VIX is actually down about 11%, which is great. The dollar hanging around, very, very subtle, not really doing too much. We'll take it. Right now the markets look fantastic. You can see for the top 100s right now, you can see just green across the board, and not just a little bit of green. You're seeing some good moves right now. You're seeing SUI up about 3.5%, Ethereum Classic 4%, ADA's up 4% right now. What is this? Meme Core up 24%. Athena doing really well. Athena's been doing very good, up 10%. Obviously, it's going to run whenever Ethereum's running. You're going to see those Ethereum-based projects do very well. Say up 6%. Uniswap, obviously one of the bigger swaps, or the biggest swap on Ethereum, up 8%. Dog with Hat 5%. Fartcoin starting to come back 6%. XRP today up 6.5%. What's going on? Well, we have a lot of bullishness. We're going to cover this here in just a few seconds. But the point of what I'm getting to is we saw that nice little dip in the markets going into close on Friday. We're starting to see a nice little recovery. Basically, we're just bouncing, right? Bitcoin at 115,000. We lost, some good numbers. We were hanging around 117, 118 last week. Obviously, we saw that nice little drop, but it looks like we're starting to slowly but surely make our way back up. If you really look and we zoom out, let me zoom out a little bit here. Sure. All right, we're good. Make sure you guys slap those likes. I had to check to see if we're live right here. No one's in the chat. What's going on, guys? You guys quiet? It's Monday morning. Come on. You got to get pumped up. This is what moves the markets, guys. If you hit that like, I'm telling you, Bitcoin will continue to move up. It's just how it works. Just kidding. Looking at the 4-hour, you guys can see. Let me move this the bottom of this channel a little bit more so we can get context. You guys can see we've been kind of in this downward channel, right? Since we pretty much made all-time highs up to a 123. And this has been obviously, since the beginning of July. So we've been in for about 3 weeks going into 4 weeks. But the point of what I'm getting to is this actually is a beautiful bull flag that Bitcoin has been traveling in, right? In bull flags, you're going to see sometimes it'll break above the channel, but it'll come right back, and sometimes it'll break below and come right back. And you can see we're still in this channel even after this dip from this past weekend. We're still very well into this channel. I wouldn't be surprised if we come up. I don't know about today, but maybe in the next 24 hours, maybe 2 days, we come up and we come back up to retest this 117.8, somewhere around this area at the top of the channel. For this week, we really don't have any macro stuff that's going to be in our way. The only really thing that we have is tariffs, right? And I think the market, and to be in all honesty, I think the market is pretty much priced in tariffs for the most part, unless something dramatic happens. I think the markets are pretty much just we are moving past tariffs as of now. Now, if something big happens, then obviously the markets will react, whether it's positive or negative. But for the most part, I think the markets have pretty much priced in what we currently have as far as news for the tariffs and all that good stuff. So I don't really foresee much of a big move, like I said, unless something big happens. But if it's just that general, I think, some of these deadlines are approaching again and stuff like that. I don't think that the markets are really going to sell off if there's no resolve on, a smaller country that we do, very small business with, or whatever the case is. So I don't really foresee that being a big deal as of now. So Ethereum's moving up. Let's look at Bitcoin's dominance, and then we're going to cover some bullish stuff and the reason why I think the markets are technically moving positively for today, even past the tariffs and all that good stuff. You can see, looking at Bitcoin dominance, we're looking at the daily, looking fantastic. It was a little scary, I'm not going to lie, last week going into this dip, because we had formed some kind of a dreaded W pattern, right? You can see we made some kind of a W or a double bottom, which usually indicates that we're going to be moving towards the upside. You can see we did have that nice little move towards the upside for dominance, but it looks like as of now it's been rejected. And this is nothing but positive. I'm not saying that I want, Bitcoin to come down, because Bitcoin is doing well. Dominance is coming down. We already know what this is. This is an inverse chart with Ethereum, right? And alts. Bitcoin dominance goes down doesn't mean the price of Bitcoin is going to come down, but it just means that Ethereum's price is going to be going up, and alts should be doing fantastic as well, as long as this dominance continues to move down. And I'll say this again. Once we break below that 60%, I really do think that a lot of your alts, maybe your alts have been doing pretty good in the last few weeks. I don't think you've seen anything yet until we break below the 60%. That's when I really do think that we're going to see some massive alts running around. So let's see here. So why is the market just, why are we bouncing back up? What's the bullish stuff going on? Well, I will tell you one thing. Is, you remember this nice little meeting that we just had? What was it, last week with Jerome Powell? If you guys remember, I'm not gonna show you yet, but if you guys remember, the markets were pretty much just down and out, right? Powell basically said, listen, we're not going to reduce rates. We're going to keep kicking the can down the road. Uncertainty, tariffs, just, what he normally says, right? He just basically circles back around and just continues to say the same thing over and over and over and over, right? Doesn't want to give any kind of indication that the Feds are anticipating some kind of a reduction in interest rates. But as of today, look at this. Look at this massive shift that we have on investors. Let me just make sure this is September. All right. I was like, this just seems too good to be true. If you guys remember, last week we were looking at this, and September, this is September's meeting, right? So we have about 5 weeks until then. September's meeting basically was stating, as far as what investors were anticipating, was that it was going to be like 70% of a pause, right? 70% of investors were anticipating a pause. It was like 30%, somewhere around there, that we might see some kind of a reduction in interest rates. Look how things have shifted, and literally just this past weekend. Why is it? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because we got the jobs report last week, and it was brutal right now. We can get all into this, but from what the numbers look as far as the unemployment has jumped up a little bit, but really that wasn't even it. We went from, I think, 4.2 to 4.3%. It was the jobs created. they had to revise a lot of numbers from just like the last numbers that dropped, I think 30 days ago, down like hundreds of thousands of jobs. This time around, there was expected to be like something like 150,000 jobs created, 70,000, right? So it came in half, and they're thinking that they're already going to have to revise it down to something like around 10 or 15,000. The lady, I don't know who does it, right? But this is it's an actual person, obviously, or maybe it's a group of collective people that monitor the markets and stuff like that, as far as the job labor and who's collecting unemployment, all that good stuff. The lady was actually removed, right? Because the administration was not happy. And we're not going to get political or anything like that, but it is kind of ironic that again, we had Jerome Powell reduce rates before the election last year, right? Why would he do that when the interest rates were, or I'm sorry, not the interest rates, but inflation. Sorry, I'm thinking about something else at the same time. Inflation was like double what we had right now. Unemployment was a lot lower. Why the hell would he start reducing rates? Who knows, right? But he hasn't reduced them since. Just right before the election, literally a month and a half before the election, he started to reduce interest rates. Well, at the same time, the job reports at that time, if you remember around September, the job reports came out and the market was, the job market was booming. Everybody had a job. Unemployment was down. There was hundreds of thousands of jobs being created. Well, what happened after the election? They had to revise, right? And it ended up being all that was completely not correct. And they had to revise everything where it was actually terrible, right? The point of what I'm getting to is it seems like this has been happening a lot. And I think the job market right now is not doing good. I don't think that's why they got rid of her. I think they got rid of her because, unfortunately, the person that keeps coming out with these numbers keeps having to revise, which, if you look back in history, this stuff happens, right? But not on this kind of a rate, and not when you're around elections and stuff like that. It's a little odd, right? It's a little odd. The point of what I'm getting to is the job labor market has weakened significantly, right? To where this is what the feds were looking for. This is what's going to give them, hopefully, the push to where they can start reducing interest rates. And that's why the market is pricing in almost an 84% chance that in 5 weeks from now, we could start seeing the feds starting to reduce interest rates. Now, how much are they going to reduce interest rates? I think regardless, even if they reduce it 0.25%, is going to be fantastic. But if we can potentially see, that initial, drop in interest rates, maybe like 50 basis points, 75 basis points, I think the market is going to absolutely rally. I think it's going to absolutely rally. So this right here is a big reason why you're seeing the markets, starting to bounce back up for today. Hopefully, we'll keep these numbers high as far as reductions and interest rates, but we obviously will monitor this, and this is going to fluctuate. It's going to fluctuate as we get closer because we still have 5 weeks until then. Another thing that was going on this weekend was, did China ban crypto again? Here's why the myth won't die. So if you guys have been around for a little while, 2020, 2021, China banned Bitcoin and crypto like 5 times. And you're wondering, like, how could they sit there and just keep banning crypto over and over? If it's banned, why would they need to keep banning it over? Who freaking knows, bro? Who knows? And you have to also ask yourself, why are they banning crypto? Well, they look at it as it's a threat to their currency, right? They don't want the people of over there in China, and nothing but much respect for the people of China, but they don't want those people, the people of China, to be able to invest in things that aren't directly connected to the CCP, right? Over in China, usually a symbol of wealth is how much real estate you own, right? Whether the real estate, a lot of people over there, average, will own like a few condos or a few houses. Well, they ended up finding out like a few years ago, a lot of these people that are owning houses, a lot of the real estate's not even built, 1, 2, or a lot of the real estate's like in ghost towns where no one even lives in them. But that's like how they determine if you are wealthy over in China. And why is that? Because that's something that they've created over there to where, buy real estate and it just keeps funneling back into their economy. That's what they want. Makes sense. They don't want them buying Bitcoin because why? Well, Bitcoin is not tied into the CCP, is not tied into the yen, right? So they don't want their people buying in or investing, their assets or their money into into anything other than what is going to come back directly into the China economy. So if you follow crypto community on X, it seems like China bans crypto every few months. On August 3rd, several social media accounts reported reported a supposed Chinese ban on crypto assets. These accounts claim that the ban applies to both crypto trading and mining, as well as related services. I mean, this is exactly what happened in 2021. What sucked is in 2021, it actually hurt the market. Believe it or not, during 2021, it literally hurt the market when this happened. Let's see here. So China has officially banned cryptocurrencies, trading, mining, and related services, citing financial risk, capital flight concerns, and environmental impacts. So they don't care about the environment, right? The most coal burned is in China. 1. 2, capital flight concerns. That's all they're worry about. Citing financial risk and capital flight. What is capital flight? Meaning money leaving China, right? That's why they don't want it. That's why they're worried about it. And it makes sense. Why do you think America wants crypto to be in America? Why do you think we just passed the Genius Act, right, for stable coins? Because we want all the stable coins to be pegged to the dollar, right? Everybody in the world is eventually, going to be using stable coins at some point. What is it going to be correlated with? The US dollar. That gives the dollar just more dominance across the world financially, right? China is looking at that and they're like, hell no. Nope. We're banning all crypto, everything in crypto in their country. But I think what China is going to really figure out is that you can't, Craig, what's going on, brother? You can't really, you can't ban crypto, right? You might be able to block, the internet and stuff like that, but there's always ways around it, right? And people are going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out, and it's only going to make people repel, in my opinion, against, any country that does this, right? Because China's not the only country. There's a lot of other countries, not a lot, but there are a few countries that are doing the same thing. They're just like, they look at crypto, and they're like, they don't want, a lot of places in Africa do the same thing because they're just, it's a threat to their currency. But you have to understand, China is one thing because the yen has worth, right? But when you go to some of these countries over in like Africa, the currency is so inflated that, why do you think people are like, why do I want to hold this like in Zimbabwe, why do I want to hold this currency? You have to have 3 trillion of whatever they have, whatever their currency is called equals $1. Like, why would I want to do that, right? And then also it's losing value at a rapid rate. I can, park this into Bitcoin or, into something else, even into a freaking stable coin, and it stays at its value, if not goes up, right? That's why these countries are like shit. And if more people are doing that, that means that their currency is losing value because now people aren't even using their currency to buy goods. So that's pretty much the reason why. Look at this South Park. Let's see here. Hello, internet. Yeah, this is People Bank of China. We ban Bitcoin now. Yeah. This was back in 2021. Now it's like everybody's just like, who cares, bro? Who freaking cares? We don't even know if it's true, honestly. I've been hearing that it's actually not true. So, Ethereum defies market with $133 million inflow as Bitcoin stumbles with a $404 million outflow. This was as of last week. And really, the only reason why I bring this up is because, what we're seeing today. Ethereum's up 4% today. Ethereum's up 4% today. Absolutely killing it, right? So you're seeing, even though we're seeing little dips in the market, you're still seeing the dominance come down for Bitcoin, and you're still seeing a lot of institutional money just doubling down on Ethereum. And why this is great is because, like I keep telling you guys, as this continues, right, retail is already starting to come in. We're starting to see signs of it, but they're going to start flowing in, especially when Ethereum breaks above $4,000. You're going to see retail, again, coming in like they normally do towards the end, right? They're going to start fumbling in, and some will make money buying in at 4, and some people are going to get wrecked because they're going to be buying in at 48, $5,000 Ethereum or whatever the case is, just basically coming in to give us all that exit liquidity. But you can tell that it is coming, guys. It is coming. So days like we had this past weekend on these dips, we didn't really dip too far down on a lot of these alts. So I was buying, I think, I don't really remember if I bought, I did sell some stuff and make some good money. I'm going to talk about that on DeFi. But as far as, I really didn't catch any dips as of now, just because we didn't really dip that much. I mean, Bitcoin did, right? But nothing else really, like, I mean, maybe Ethereum dropped down to what, like 35 something, but a lot, I mean, and Solana dropped down below $3, but I don't really mess with Solana. But there really wasn't like massive dips where I'm like, hell yeah, let me double in on. I just was like, you know what, I don't really care. We'll see how far we go. If we do get down to certain prices, I'll buy in. But so just to read briefly, Ethereum secures another week of victory over Bitcoin. So Bitcoin saw significant outflows with 404 million leaving the market, resulting from a negative sentiment that overshadowed any positive activity in other digital assets. However, Bitcoin's year-to-date inflows remain robust at around $20 billion. This reflects the top crypto's continued appeal despite volatility caused by shifting monetary policies. So you guys can see Ethereum, like I said, had a fantastic week as far as inflows versus Bitcoin. You can see $133.9 million in inflows, and you can see Bitcoin actually had $404 million of outflows, right? So you can see on the month, Bitcoin's around 844 and Ethereum's at around 176 as far as outflows for the month. But for the year, Bitcoin still holds over $20 billion, and you can see Ethereum over 7.9 billion has come in as far as for Ethereum as well. So still definitely doing great. The monthly, closed off a little bumpy, but if you really look at the year, you can see both Ethereum and Bitcoin for ETFs are doing absolutely fantastic. So Craig said the annual China ban, blah, blah. Exactly, dude. I think everybody's pretty much just gotten past it. It's like, who flipping cares? Who cares? If they want to do that to their people, you know what? It's so be it, bro. It's so be it. Like I said, I think it's going to end up causing a rebellion. You got to fight, right? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm going to get taken out. CCP is going to come over here and take me out. If you guys are just joining, we covered this a little while ago, but look at how much this shifted as far as September's Fed meeting. Almost 84% of the market's calling for some kind of a reduction in interest rates coming up in September, in 5 weeks from now. Breaking news, this was 29 minutes ago. SharpLink Gaming just bought another 18,680 Ethereum worth $66 million. Look at that. Crypto showing you guys the exact same chart that I have as far as for Bitcoin, right? Literally the exact same chart. You guys can see. I'm telling you, people that have been around, we can see it. We can see it, and you can see right here, clear as day, a nice bull flag in this channel. Like I said, we broke briefly out of that channel, but we are right back in the channel as of now, back in holding this nice little bull flag. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we easily in the next few days, maybe this week, come up to maybe retest the higher 117,000s, maybe even break into 118 as this week unfolds. We really don't have much holding us back unless something unexpected happens. So let's see here. Bitcoin's relatively strength, the RSI. Let me see here. Let's see if there's any correlation. So you can see during, I guess, yeah, you can see every 4 years, right? You can see is yellow. I'm trying to read this chart here. It's the first time I'm seeing it. I'm guessing yellow is the price. No? But you can see every time we spike in RSI, it's during the 4-year cycle, right? And you can see this is obviously current right now. This is back in 2021, 2017, and 2013. Isn't that weird, right? 4 years, 4-year cycle. I keep telling you guys this. Everybody's like, oh no, everything's so different this time. It's like, I mean, yeah, it is going to be slightly different, but it's going to look very similar. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of this year, maybe by the beginning of 2026. I really say maybe because I really do think we're going to top out by the end of this year, but maybe we roll into the new year potentially as far as making highs in altcoin season. So looking to see if there's anything. Look at that. George was on something today. To-do list. Retire my entire bloodline with the bull run. You would probably need some good money for that, though. $100 isn't going to just do that. Just looking to see if there's anything other that we missed. Doesn't look like anything else. Markets, though, are in the green. Let's go into DeFi real quick. So a couple things that I wanted to point out. So if you guys remember, for the last month, I've been pointing out certain meme coin that I told you guys that I had been investing in, had been buying in heavily. And that was Mask. That's on Solana, right? I mean, I said this over and over. I said that Mask hadn't been really it's not on really any big central exchanges, right? It's really trading mostly on swaps as of now. And I said, this what at the time $5 million market cap. I think it was even lower, but we'll say about $5 million market cap. It's doing massive volume for its market cap. At the time, it was doing 4 or 5 million. Right now, it's at $3.3 million in volume. Is actually down slightly as far as volume. But the point I'm getting to is it checked all the boxes. It's got a massive community. It's got over 32,000 wallets that are holding this project, right? And it's not even on any major central exchange. It's only on, if you really go to the central exchanges, it's technically only on Mexi and Bitmark and Lbank. Those are really going to be your smaller mid-tier, central exchanges that you can get on. But most of this money is coming in through Pump Fund, Radium, and swaps on Solana. Well, the point of what I'm getting to is we called this out, and look how much this project has moved up just in the last 2 weeks, guys. In the last 2 weeks, and I know some of my members definitely bought in, and they're probably doing really well. It's up about 185% just in the last 2 weeks. And technically, if you were to have caught that bottom and the top that we did make last night, 237% gain in 2 weeks. Again, in 2 weeks, 200+%. This project has absolutely been ripping. So I did disclosure. I did take profits. Punk, what's going on? Old, I think I said what's up, but what's going on, brother? I did take profits, and I am looking to kind of reposition myself. We're going to see if maybe the project maybe has somewhat of a cool off because it has been running, like I said, in the last 2 weeks. So I am waiting to see if there's going to be any possible dips. I'm looking really for anything below that 1 cent mark. Maybe around this 96 was an area for us with resistance/support. So I'm looking for somewhere around that 96 or below. I will start dollar cost averaging in the project again as far as that. So that is Mask. That's on Solana. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I just love the project. So that's why I just bring it up. I usually just bring it up in our members only stream as far as plays. Another project that we've been covering like crazy on DeFi is ZBEC, ZBCN. This project has been absolutely doing fantastic for the last few weeks as well. You can see a nice bounce in this project since the bottom that we were basically screaming, this is a beautiful spot to be accumulating. You can see ZBEC, how long has it been? Basically, it's been about a month. In the last 4 weeks, ZBEC is up 145% in the last 3 weeks. Nice, beautiful move on ZBEC. I last night was looking, if you guys remember, I did sell at the top. I repositioned myself when we had a nice little dip. I almost pulled the trigger last night, and I was like, should I just sell off? We hit around that 54 area. I was like, it was Sunday night, and I was like, should I just sell off? Obviously, I'm very bullish. I was like, I'll sell off, take these profits, right, and then reposition myself. Well, I didn't. I didn't do it. I was like, you know what? Let me just hold on because I'm just too long-term bullish on ZBEC. I was like, you know what, bro? I was up, but it wasn't massively. It wasn't like I did just 2 or 3x my money in in a few days. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave it be. I'm not gonna sell off, and I'll just let it be. So obviously, hindsight, If I would have sold somewhere around that 55 area, yeah, I would have made some decent money. I would have been kind of chopping at the bit right now just because we didn't really see any kind of a big correction. I was thinking maybe we're going to come back down to retest maybe 49, maybe 40, 47, somewhere around there, and just reaccumulate again, right? We really haven't done that. So I'm kind of, as of now, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually happy because if I would have sold off at 55, right now, I probably would be maybe slowly buying in, but not much. It wouldn't have been a big difference is what I'm saying. You know, for me to take that risk of selling and losing my position just to buy in maybe 5% cheaper, I don't know. It really is not, it's not that big of a deal as far as like there really wasn't too much money to be made in that situation. So I'm glad I actually held for now on that. But looking across the board as far as like DeFi and stuff like that, I mean, it looks like we're good. Looks pretty good. A project that I have been looking for, I was going to save this for our members only stream, but since we kind of have it up, I'll bring it up. This MLG project. It has been getting a lot of backlash because supposedly this is a project that was I guess promoted by a couple streamers, Aiden Ross and FaZe Banks were promoting this, and supposedly they had sold off, if I'm not mistaken, like towards the top. I'm not familiar with the whole freaking situation, but you can see, I mean, this thing shot up, you know, but this is what confuses me about this project is this project's been out for, you know, when all this happened, this was like 4 or 5 months ago, but it's like all over like social media right now, or it was a few days ago in regards to all this happening. So I don't know if that already happened, right? And the project is starting to bounce back, but I'm keeping an eye out because things what I like to do with DeFi, because it's so cheap for the swaps, is I like to snag some of these positions here and, you know, just kind of scalp. So you can see for this, a nice area for this project is the 2070 area, right? So right under a penny, 2070 area is used to be, it tends to be a good spot or below, where if you can get in during this accumulation, you see these massive spikes, but they're short-lived, right? Nice bounce. Look at this nice spike right here. So I've been kind of keeping an eye out. I mean, this is a 250% spike right there within like a week, right? But it's short-lived. Volume for today, slightly down. I've been monitoring it for the last few days. It's been doing like $1 million days. So that's something, you know, you got to keep an eye out. You want to make sure that there's a lot of volume, a lot of different wallets trading the project. That's going to keep that volatility up, right? And remember, we're taking advantage of volatility. So an area that I'm looking for to maybe accumulate. I'm not going to go balls deep, no diddy, but throwing in massive money on this project. But I will throw in, you know, to see if maybe I can 2 or 3x, maybe a few $100, you know, and maybe a few days, you know, a quick scalp, something like that. So I'm looking at maybe the, like I said, the 207 area or below might be a spot to look for. No financial advice, but just my opinion on MLG that's trading on Solana. So today it's actually not having a bad day. It's up about 24% as of today. So a Chronos project that I did call out on the members only stream. I did call this project out. Chronos has been very just boring, right? Not much going on Chronos. If you're familiar, this is Crypto.com's DeFi, you know, ecosystem. Not much going on. But this project right here, I told you guys, if you can take advantage of these swings, right? This is what we're looking for, is these swings. You might be able to make some money, and that's exactly what I did. We dropped down towards this 44 area. What was this? This was on the 2nd, so about 2 days ago, I was able to snag up just a solid position, nothing too crazy. But I ended up selling off literally this morning, a little earlier, for about a 40% gain on that, right? I'll take it, right? So areas that we're looking for this area, for this project, and like I said, low volume. It's not doing bad. The market cap's at $5 million. Liquidity's at around 100K, but just because it's on the Chronos ecosystem, there's just not much going on as far as this project. So you got to be very cautious with this. Obviously not financial advice, but if you are trading on Chronos, this might be a project to look forward or look into, but you got to get in at the right area, right? You definitely don't want to be buying in at these tops right here. So an area that I'm looking for really is the 54 area or below. A key area, that 44 area, is a spot where you can see it has bounced already a couple times. And some of these bounces, no diddy, have been epic. I mean, right here, this was a nice, 92% move right there. And you can see it tends to do this like weekly, right? So I sold off. What am I going to do? I'm probably just going to look to maybe reposition myself if and when we drop back down towards this 44 area and kind of just do it all over again, for this. So like I said, I'm not really throwing massive amount into this because I don't want my money parked for too long, but I will throw in a little bit and, just catch, even if it's a 20 or 40% move, I'll take it and just run with it. So this is on Chronos VIES VIES token. So, and I do think that like a project like that, once Chronos kind of picks up, they're probably going to do really well. They'll probably start picking up and, there'll probably be a lot of money flowing into the project. The market cap's pretty low. They're just trying to survive. Who's causing those spikes it's them, the team. What they're doing is they're buying and selling because they're trying to keep the volume up. They're just trying to stay relevant right now, but taking advantage of that, right? So they'll buy in like 50 or 100 grand over like a day span or a few days span, spike the project up 80, 90%, and then they sell off, and then they kind of do it all over again. So in between that, I'm like, all right, well, they just sold off. Here it goes. I throw in, whatever I throw in, and I'll usually double my money on that. So but other than that, really, I'm looking to see if there's really nothing else going on as far as that. Bitcoin right now is 115.2. Looks like so far we've kind of run up and hit our head at around that 115.4 area as of now. The stock market, like I said, doing fantastic. Where everything's up about over 1%. S&P, NASDAQ, Dow Jones is up over 1%. Looks like the market's doing pretty good. Gold is up 0.5%. Silver's up 1%. So it looks pretty good. Looking at ALI, let's see here. ALI not doing too bad. This is a small market cap AI project that's trading on the Ethereum network. Not doing too bad. I've said this over and over and over and over. This is kind of like that project we just looked at, right? Low market cap. This thing likes to kind of shoot up and then it kind of bleeds off. But it always tries to find support around the same area. It's almost like it's so predictable, right? If you guys, not financial advice, if you are looking for some quick, maybe potential money you can make on ALI, you can look for this area somewhere around that 49 area. Looks like this is the spot where it's been kind of finding support. It did break below briefly, but I mean, look at these moves where it breaks below and then like a few days later, this thing doesn't take a lot of, let me click in here. Doesn't take a lot of money for it to shoot up, and you can see 170% spike. Literally, when was this? This was on the 22nd, and this happened. What are we looking at here? Oh, I'm looking at the daily. Forgive me. I'm like, why does it look like it's such a big span now? Forgive me, guys. But you can see. Let's go back. So we have the 17th of July, and this was the 19th. So this was a 2-day span of a massive gain right here. Yeah, 140% in 2 days. But you can see, bleeds down. What does it do? Bounces right at that 49. And where is it at now? Bounce at the 49, and it's up 50%. Right? So I would be cautious. I wouldn't be buying in at these prices because it keeps hitting its head around this 81 area. But if it comes back down to the 49 or below, not financial advice, but might be a good little spot to maybe just jump in, a nice little scalp, pick up a nice little 40 or 50 or maybe even 100% move on ALI. Old said, I've missed so many streams the last couple of weeks. Been working on the house like nonstop. No worries, bro. No worries, dude. Rocky, what's going on, bro? You got something to say, bro? See, you deleted your comment. You got something to say, bro? Speak up. Excuse me. One thing I wanted to pull up real quick, fear and greed. Fear and greed. Look at this, guys. Been talking about this for for the last few weeks. We talk about this all the time, but I've been telling you guys we're in a spot where the market looks like it's kind of reset itself. Bitcoin at 115K, right? Ethereum at plus 3,600, and the market is in neutral right now, meaning we're not overbought whatsoever. Meaning we probably have a big move. I'm telling you guys, in the next few weeks, maybe the next month or two, we have a massive move ahead of us. Mark my words. I'm telling you guys, if this, just based off of fear and greed, if we were up into higher greed or extreme greed, I would be telling you guys, listen, we probably have locally topped and we're probably going to see a nice cool down coming up. But it's the complete opposite. We're at some high levels right now where the market, and I mean high levels like the market is holding strong, and we're at freaking neutral. We're in neutral right now. We probably have a lot of money that's going to be flowing in here soon in these next few months. And I mean, it really just, it's all literally leading to what we've already know what it is. It's the 4-year cycle. It's the 4-year cycle. I'm telling you, I'm going to keep running with it until I'm proven wrong as far as the 4-year cycle. XRP broke above $3 again. Yeah, Punk, I agree, bro. I really do agree, dude. Like, just looking at that, just looking off, you guys know how I am. How I am with the fear and greed. This thing has never steered me wrong, ever. It's a lag indicator, but this thing never steers me wrong as far as, I remember when we, back just 8-9 months ago in December of 2024, we had a nice spike in the market. And we'll click into it. We had spiked up in fear and greed. Let me see here. Let's look at the yearly. If we go back to right here. Well, let me see here. This chart's kind of getting me confused here. Okay, so the gray is no. What are we looking at here? Bitcoin's price. CMC, fear and greed. Okay, so the colorful line is going to be your fear and greed index, right? And if you look back, like I said, we go back to the top of fear and greed in the last year was November, kind of going into December of 2024. And I literally said this. I kept saying it on the chat for like a week, or in the streams. We have hit some kind of a local top. We're in extreme greed. We were at 88 at the time. We are at 88, and I said, guys, this shit never fails. We're at some kind of local top. And not calling anyone out, but those people were like, nope. And what did I do? I sold everything. And we dropped. And we went into the election, or we went into, we were going into a new administration. Remember January, February, we saw, a big cool down in the markets. The markets came down, right? It never fails. I'm telling you, it never fails. So you can see we had dropped down during those times, right? January, February, March, we were pretty much at our lows as far as extreme greed, fear and greed, right? And that kind of goes with the price for Bitcoin. Well, what happened after that? Now we're starting to pick back up, but what's crazy is because of the tariffs and everything that's going on, right now Bitcoin's still very bullish. The market's still pretty bullish, right? Based off of prices. But the fear and greed is down like crazy, which means that we've kind of reset. We're at a really neutral spot, aka we're in neutral right now, 52. And usually when we're in these areas, you can almost see like a consolidation in the fear and greed in the last few months, where we're kind of, we're at a stationary spot where I wouldn't be surprised, almost certain at this time, that in the next few months, the markets are going to probably just explode, and you're going to see this fear and greed. We're going to be getting back into greed and extreme greed, right? Extreme greed is where you look for exit, right? That's usually where you're looking for as far as some kind of local top or the actual top, right? Again, you look at this, you can see, look how extreme greed Gray is the price for Bitcoin. It literally just runs in parallel. It literally runs in parallel. So it never fails, in my opinion. And this is just an indicator right here showing that we're at a solid spot right now in the market where, half the market is bullish, half the market is bearish. Cool. But we haven't even, we're in a beautiful spot right now where we could easily see an influx of money come flying in the next few months. So we'll see. I'll be here to kind of be like, see, I told you. Bitcoin's kind of cooling down right now. We're at around 114.8 as of now. So we had a nice little move towards the upside. That 112 area was kind of getting a little sketchy. But as of now, you can see on the 30-minute, we had a nice little sell-off. As of now, we did top out around 115.4 as of now. So it is what it is. We'll see what today brings as far as this week. I think we're going to stay bullish. We're back into this range. We could easily come back down and retest this range at around 112.8, somewhere around there, and easily still stay in this range and stay very bullish. So Silver saying, how many more months do we have to wait? I mean, that's a good question, bro. I mean, I'm going to be honest, bro. Listen, my opinion, right? My opinion, take it with a grain of salt. I'm basing all this off of our previous 4-year cycles. If we were to go off of that, and we've covered this plenty of times on the normal stream, and really we go in depth on our members only stream, we break it down as far as what we've seen the last cycles, what to look for. To make it real simple and easy answer, I honestly think that most likely it's going to be towards the end of this year, probably October, November, December, potentially rolling into 2026. Potentially, right? When we went back, we looked at 2021. We topped out at the end of November. When we went back 4 years before that, we topped out towards December and rolling into January, right? So that's why I say, time frames could be slightly different, but when you look back, if it's a month off or whatever, it really doesn't matter. It all seems to be working like I keep saying, those 4-year cycles. So we don't know exactly when. We just know that we're pretty much heading down that hallway of where the end is coming soon, right? And like I said, take it with a grain of salt because we're in such a wacky bull run, especially with a lot of things that are going on, and this is where the argument comes up with a lot of people. They're like, well, but this is so different, right? This is so different. We have the ETFs, we have an administration that's so pro crypto, and this and that and that and this and I agree with all that. The only reason why I keep falling back on the 4-year cycle is because we have never fallen off the 4-year cycle yet. No matter what, we haven't. So until proven wrong, I'm going to run with it. 1, 2, in 2021, the same shit was being said. The same shit. This is different. This runs different. We have so much more retail in. Blah, 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 blah. Right? We're going to keep... And you know who? The people that listen to all that are the people that held and didn't sell at the top or anywhere near the top and basically had to sell for losses during the bear market that eventually always comes. Right? A bear market's always on the horizon. Always. No matter what. You have your 4-year cycles normally, and then you go into like a 2-year, kind of a bear market, and then slowly it starts picking back up, and then eventually, the last 2 years of you have the 4-year cycle, 2 years of usually bear market, and then after those 2 years is when the market starts to slowly pick back up, and you have about 2 years of running, and that's pretty much where we're at. We're at the end of right now. So, I mean, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Things can be very different this time around, but I think until proven different, that's the strategy that we've been running with on the channel, and that's what I've pretty much been running with as far as, just profit taking, and really just my accumulation and really just that's the point of where I'm waiting for is towards the end of the year. If everything's looking like, what would it look like similar, extreme greed, Ethereum's at all-time highs, alts have done really well, that's usually an indication that we're at the top. So there will be flags, bro. There will be flags, and we will call them out for sure. Punk said 1 trillion tokens bought. Doge. Oh, you bought what is it? Dog Elon. I always want to say Doge Elon. Dog Elon Mars. You talking about you just recently did that, or you did that back? Did you do that during the last run? Because I know, bro, Dog Elon was running on the last run. I did make some money on Dog Elon for sure. Oh, you didn't, but someone did. Hey, you never know, bro. This thing could pop back up. Let's pull up that chart, man. I haven't pulled up Dog Elon in so long. I literally wait until you see where the fib retracement is on this. Let's see if it's even on this chart. It's going to be from like a year ago. Yeah, look at that. Well, it really isn't that long ago. The beginning of the month. So it's been a few months. Holy crapazoid. Look at that freaking crazy spike right there, bro. I think we talked about this a while back. Let me see. I should have another chart up. Yeah, there it is. I remember that spike. It was like a 400 or 500% spike. And when this happened, I was like, you know, because I'm not going to sit up here and give financial advice like this is what you have to do or nothing like that. But I was like, guys, this is your exit liquidity. I was like, this is your exit liquidity. Even if you're long term, freaking take your profits, get your money back, and if you are so certain on this project, reposition yourself, right? This was literally as this thing was running, and you can see obviously what happened, a crazy spike, but as fast as it came up, it came right back down. You know, so nothing against Dog Elon. I know it did, I don't know about nowadays, but it did have a massive community behind it. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens again, like some kind of a crazy spike for the project. I mean, the market cap has to be pretty far down. $61 million. I mean, it is low, but I mean, there's other projects right now that we know of, like Milady, that's like half of this, right? The one thing that you can see, so $61 million market cap, but look at the volume. $2 million in volume. That's like extremely, extremely low. Very, very low. So there's just not a lot of volume in the project. So, but that'll probably pick back up at some point. It always does, right? You always see like these projects will go ghost, and then it's just like out of nowhere they'll have some kind of a day where they just go absolutely crazy. Silver, no worries, brother. No worries, dude. Thanks for the question. Punk, I didn't, but someone else did. Okay. Ben, what's going on, brother? He said Pepe. I'm guessing you want to look up Pepe? Or are you just telling us about Pepe? Just kidding. Oh, Pepe. What's Pepe been doing nowadays? Massive market cap. $4.4 billion market cap. Just sitting there like a champ. Freaking Pepe's insane, bro. Got over 1 million followers on CMC. Isn't that crazy? Over 1 million followers. Absolutely crazy. I still do think that Pepe is going to be the top meme coin. I'm telling you. I believe it. I've been calling it out for a while. So Pepe right now, I mean, we're looking at the daily. I mean, nothing too crazy. Obviously, trying to look, you can see, you know, it's been kind of going in swings. I can't even say, oh, look, it's hitting its head. I mean, the only thing is it's really, as of now, you can see, I think this is the 618. Yeah, the 618, you can see it's got support at the 786 at around this 89. So if it gains another zero, obviously at the 89 is where the 786 is. It's got support. You can see it's bounced off of there. But as of now, resistance, it looked like if you go back in June, right? Nice little move. We did see these nice movement in meme coins. Ran up, looked like it was finding support at the 618 and this thing was going to pop. But it really just kind of fizzled out midway up towards the 0.5 at around this 14 area. And since then, it has been slowly breaking down. You can see it tried to bounce, but it gave the 618 resistance, right? The 618 gave the price of Pepe resistance. You can see a nice little, it hit its head, rejected, and came down. So did it find support midway? Did it need to even come down to the 786? Maybe not. You guys know It did drop down and gain a zero briefly. That's probably going to be a mental area for a lot of people. They look at it as right now, it's at how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's at 4 zeros and a 10, right? People are like, oh, I'm not buying in right now. But it gains that fifth zero real quick, which it only goes down like 4%. Everybody's like, I'm buying in. It just gained a zero. That's a mental area, right? It's kind of like the equivalency of when a project's at 99 cents and it goes to $1, right? At $1, they're like, I'm not buying in. It drops below $1. Oh shit, it's at 99 cents. I'm buying in. You know, it's kind of like that mental area. So it's not really on a fib retracement or anything like that, but it's an area that seems to be where it has some kind of support right there at that 99, 98 area as far as there. So a little bit of a bounce as of now, but I wouldn't really be worried about Pepe because like I keep saying, I truly do believe Pepe is going to probably, be probably the top, if not the top, one of the top 2 or 3 meme coins if it's not already. Where's Doge at nowadays? Oops, I might want to spell it correctly. So Pepe has a 4 billion. Doge is at 30 billion. So Doge is not doing bad at all as far as holding up. Shiba. Did I spell that correctly? Shiba's at 7 million. So Pepe is easily going to take over Shiba, in my opinion. Easily take over Shiba. Dogecoin's going to be giving it hell, though. So we'll see. That probably is going to be the fight right there. Pepe against Doge. Rocket said, what are your thoughts on me, lady? My thoughts on me, lady, bro. You sitting down? Might want to sit down for this one, bro. Let's talk, Rocky. No, I mean, my thoughts on me, lady, bro. Look at this freaking crazy chart. I need to probably, redo this chart. My thoughts on me, lady, dude. I mean, to be honest, right? It hasn't performed like everybody, we really thought it was going to perform, right? I always say this because I have much respect for Milady, and everybody that's invested in Milady. I have it, right? I built my channel off of Milady. If you guys remember a few years back, I mean, my streams would be like Milady meme coin stream, and we would talk about everything else, but that was the main focus was Milady, right? And she was doing well at those times. You can see, I mean, we were streaming. That's when I bought in at the very bottom. I did sell off, but you can see we were streaming, and Milady was killing it, bro. But since the last year, if not a little bit more, it's just been, obviously on a downward trend. It's just been steady and steady and steady. What I will say is something like Milady, and let's pull it up. I'm sure volume is low. Did I not spell that right? I don't think I did. There we go. So, I mean, looking at volume, kind of the same thing as Dog Elon, right? $3 million in volume. It's low, but the market cap is really low, which is a good thing, right? This won't take much to, get back to some higher levels. It's only at $23 million, So I think what I'm getting to is, as of now, it just hasn't performed like a lot of people really were anticipating. I think a lot of people have kind of moved on from the project, but I do believe that she's going to do fairly well when just everything is doing well, right? I do think that she's going to do well because it's a $23 million market cap. It's trading on all the bigger central exchanges, right? And I mean the mid-tier. You got your Crypto.com, your KuCoins, your Gates, your MEXC, right? And a whole handful of other ones, so it has access to a lot of investors. Unfortunately, we never saw that Binance. We never saw the Coinbase, listings or anything like that. I think that was going to put it in with the big leagues. So a lot of people have moved on, but I do think that down the road when everything bounces, you'll probably see a nice move with this. I wouldn't be surprised, and this is me just being conservative and trying to give some hopium. I wouldn't be surprised if Milady potentially bounces, and gets to maybe a few $100 million market cap. I think it's going to be kind of brief, I don't think it's going to go up to like, $200 or $300 million market cap, which is a 10x technically from where it's at right now, and stay up there. I think just because a lot of people probably will flow in as she's moving up and then probably take profits and move on. So, but hopefully I'm wrong, dude. Hopefully I'm wrong, and this could be an epic story where everybody just kind of writes it off and this thing just ends up, melting faces and running. But I think the first scenario is a little bit more plausible. She runs up to maybe like $150, $200 million market cap at some point before selling off. This is during, the heighten of altcoin season, in the next few months. So, but anybody that's invested in her, understand that I do hope you guys do well. I really do. I do hope you guys do well. I have nothing but respect for Milady and any of her investors. So. Old. Yeah. But for the most part, we're let's get back into some hopium here. We're in the green for today. Bitcoin still having a little bit of a cool off right now. We're down to about 114.7 for right now. Exactly, bro. No worries, dude. Like I said, hopefully I'm wrong, bro. Hopefully, your waiting pays off and she freaking runs up to that $1 billion market cap that we all were anticipating. Bro, we'd have these streams and I'd have like 150 people in here live, right? And like thousands of people would watch it after for Milady, bro. Like Milady, like helped me build my channel. You know what I'm saying? And when I was running with Milady's content, I had the most views that my channel ever had. So like there was a massive community behind Milady, and I know a lot of people have since moved on, but she could easily come back. Old said, I think at one point I had $10,000 in Milady. I know, bro. I bro, I was right there. I think the most I had in Milady during like it's all glory, I had probably like $5,000. I don't remember. I think I had. I'm trying to remember like how much Milady I had. It was like 100 billion. I'm trying to think. 100 billion? I don't remember. Yeah, it was like 100 billion. It was like close to 100 billion because at the time when we were running up for Milady, we had someone come in here. Now, we couldn't verify, but we had someone come in here and claim that they were a whale and they were holding a trillion Milady. Now, I don't know how much I believe that, but he did come in here and speak some knowledge. Came in and said, listen, guys, I don't care what you believe. I have over a trillion Milady. He's like, I'm selling soon. He's like, we're getting close to the high for Milady. I'm selling. And he's like, and I'm moving on. And we're all like, you don't have a trillion. Never came back. He never came back. And when he said that, we were close to the top for Milady. So, but I remember I had people in here that had, $40,000, $50,000 worth of Milady, at the time. So, you gotta pay homage, right? She helped me out, made money on the project, and like I said, we built a solid community around. A lot of people to this day that are on the channel still are like, bro, I came here because of Milady. We've all progressed, since then, but that's really the stomping grounds for the channel is like Milady, believe it or not. So. Always gonna have respect for her. Always gonna have respect for her, right, guys? Let's see if there's anything going on right now. Anything new going on? We got Tom Lee talking. Let's see.
And at the time, the stock was $4. Just a month ago, I was on the show to announce I was becoming chairman. And at the time, the stock was $4.50, and we announced a $250 million investment led by Founders Fund and Mosaics and others. But today, we announced that we reached almost $3 billion worth of ETH.
You hear that?
And
I'm going to put a pause because shout out to Tom Lee. When you hear that over a month ago, he came onto the show, and we watched it live. And I showed you guys, I said, listen, institutional money is about to go flying into Ethereum. We could go back to the stream. We could literally watch the stream. We literally watched it, and I said institutional money. This is when Ethereum was at $2,500, and I said institutional money is about to shift over to Ethereum. And that's exactly what we've seen in the last 4 to 5 weeks since he came out and announced this.
The largest ETH holder then.
Yeah, the largest ETH treasury in the world and the third largest crypto treasury in the world. And we also announced that Bill Miller III made a major investment last week into BitMine. So he joins Cathie Woods in investing in our company in the past couple weeks.
And, just to clarify, so he took over BitMine, and they were like, listen, we're still very bullish on Bitcoin, but we're going to change our focus to mostly buying Ethereum. We think that this Ethereum is what institutions are going to want to build on in the near future. We want to start capitalizing on Ethereum, and that's basically what we've been seeing. But since he did this, a lot of other institutions are following behind, and they've been acquiring and accumulating Ethereum. That's why, what did we cover last week? ETF for Ethereum for the first 6 months was about $5 billion. And last month, in 1 week, it doubled from $5 billion to $10 billion. That shows you how much money is flowing in just through the ETFs on Ethereum. And I say this is so big because when Ethereum's running, alts are running, right? When Ethereum's running, retail is coming in. I keep using the same analogy. When retail, is in full-fledged coming in, they're going to download their Robinhood, they're going to download their Binance, they're going to download their Coinbase. Those are going to be the three, and maybe Webull, right? Those are going to be your three. Usually, those are usually I don't want to say beginner because I'm not trying to offend anybody, but usually those are going to be your earlier investor platforms that they're going to download. What did we see what we saw last week? I think it was we covered Coinbase's app has been downloading a lot more as of recent. Google searches have been going up for crypto, right? These are all signs of retail. Next, like I said, when you see retail coming in, when you're an earlier investor, and let's say you have like $5,000, I'm just saying, I know most people are not going to have probably $5,000, but let's just say you're an early investor, you're coming in, you want to jump in on crypto, you downloaded Robinhood, you have your 5 or 10 cryptos that you can actually download on Robinhood. The two major ones are going to be your Bitcoin and your Ethereum, right? You have $5,000, you come in, you're like, I can throw $5,000 in Bitcoin, and get that 0.0001 of Bitcoin, or I can come in and I can buy, actually right now, I can get freaking 1.3 ETH right now. Crap. And they look at it, they don't think about, most people that are early investors, they're not really thinking about market cap or circulating supply. So in their mind, they're thinking, shit, Ethereum can get up to where Bitcoin is, and I'm buying it at $3,000. It's not the same, obviously, right? Because we know Ethereum has a lot more circulating supply, right? Doesn't mean Ethereum's not going to do well, but that's the mindset of an early investor that's coming in. So they usually will buy into Ethereum, right? And then from there on, that same investor, maybe they do well with Ethereum. Now they're like, shit, how do I get a meme coin, right? These meme coins, they're hearing about meme coin. And you get what I'm saying? That this is usually how it is, how it starts. We've already seen it starting, but that's why you want to see Ethereum do really well. That's why you want to see Ethereum do really well, because it usually is going to carry the whole altcoin, ecosystem on its back. So let's see here. An hour ago, just in, President Trump slams woke brand okay, we're not getting into that. We're not going to get into that. That was on Bitcoin, a Bitcoin channel. Why? Hold on here. It says Bitcoin News. Why? Why would they post that? They set me up just now. Where's Arkham? Altcoin Daily just posted an hour ago. Wall Street is becoming educated on Ethereum. What I just said. Exactly what I keep saying, guys. Exactly what I keep saying. Well, I guess really there's nothing else. We've pretty much covered everything. Old flowers for me, lady. Oh, she's gonna come back and bite you in the ass, bro. Watch. She's gonna come back and one day we're gonna be streaming and me lady's gonna be up like 30x and I'm just gonna be here like this. Like, oh my god. What did we do? But for the most part, markets, I mean, we're in the green for today. Hopefully we continue this movement towards the upside. Like I said, we really don't have much ahead of us as far as like any macro news for this week. It's really going to be just the market's kind of getting past the whole tariffs and all that crap. I do think there's a little bit more deadlines. Something's telling me August 8th, if I'm not mistaken, some kind of a deadline for maybe that's with Russia and all that stuff. I don't know. It's getting intertwined. But for the most part, I don't think there's really too much ahead of us that's going to hopefully, scare the markets anymore. Hopefully we see a nice rebound in the markets for this week. Like I said, we talked about it. This right here, I think, is the biggest thing. Let's refresh this real quick because this is going to fluctuate like crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's still there. This is the biggest thing right here that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about is the Fed meeting. The markets right now for September are pricing in an 83.8% possibility of a reduction in interest rates coming up in 5 weeks. This is big. If we really, even if it's a 0.25% and we start seeing reductions in interest rates, the markets are going to start running. They're going to start running. This would be great. Historically, we pulled up the charts last week. The markets, during August and September in bull markets, or during the bull markets, August usually is a green month. August usually is a solid month, but I guess normally August aren't the best. September usually is not a good month for the market. It usually is that last kind of retest that we have until in between where we're at right now, a retest and the end of the bull run. A lot of times during September. So I'm anticipating maybe towards the end of this month, maybe going into September, we might see a little bit of a cool off like we naturally do during, the 4-year cycle. But if this was to happen, maybe that can, kind of cushion that blow. No diddy on that. As far as interest rates starting to be reduced, that's going to be a bullish catalyst that we might have maybe during a month that tends to be not, the best, for the markets in September. So we'll see how this plays out. Old said, I still have a small bag. I hope she does well. I might need to just go grab like a few billion. Me lady, just, because we're talking about her, and just, you never know, right? You never know. My thing with me lady is me personally, I don't use like a Ethereum. Like I don't have like an Ethereum wallet per se. I mean, I do have one, but I haven't used it in a while, but like a MetaMask or anything like that. And swaps are so freaking expensive. And my only like entry to get into Milady is through crypto.com. And crypto.com is basically the same thing as buying on Ethereum. They freaking, bend you over and take advantage of you, as far as buying and selling, anything on their platform, they're going to really get you, so that's the only thing I like with buying on a Milady. I'm like, when I sold my last Milady, I was like, I'm not buying any more on crypto.com. Cause like I said this before, you guys probably don't remember. It's probably been like a year since I went through a rant about crypto.com. I like the platform. I just don't like their fees. I think they're just too outrageous. But like was selling my Milady and it was like a $1,200 profit. I go and sell and I walk away with like $400 or $500, and I'm like, bro, this is like highway robbery. Like it's insane how much they charge. So that's my gripe as far as, unfortunately, that's why like I moved over. I buy a lot of like just on my Solana wallet, Solana ecosystem, just because Solana, a lot of projects you buy through the swaps. A lot of projects are on the major exchanges, but I'm not having to worry about major exchanges swap fees. Like you're going through Radium, you're going through Pump Fund, You're going through Jupiter. The swap fees are relatively, a lot smaller, versus, going through your central exchanges. So, and unfortunately, Milady isn't on Solana. Well, not the good one. So, not the good one. So, but with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it. We're most likely, I know we're due for a member stream as far as for the trenches. So we're going to be setting something up most likely tonight. The only reason why I say most likely is because school's about to start. And I'm in the process of getting everything ready. You guys know I have a 16-year-old daughter. So getting everything ready, like we have to go I'm going to go out there, pray for me. I'm going to be fighting with crowds today as far as getting supplies and all that good stuff. We already did the school shopping. We're done with that. But now we have to go out there. I'm going to have to go fight some soccer moms to get, some pencils and stuff like that. And those soccer moms, I don't know, they can fight. This isn't their first rodeo. And I'm there by myself. They're usually all clicked up, so just pray for me. If I come back and I'm all busted up, you know what happened. I got jumped at Target. So, all right, guys. With that being said, thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys slap that like. Have a productive, fantastic day today. And I will see. Thank you so much, Old. I appreciate it. I'll see each and every one of you guys in the Discord and most likely tonight, all right? All right, guys. See